Our call to worship comes to us from Patricia McKernan. When you meet someone deep in grief, slip off your needs and set them by the door. Enter barefoot this darkened chapel, hollowed by loss, hallowed by sorrow. Its gray stone walls and floor, you, congregation of one, are here to listen, not to sing. Kneel in the back pew, make no sound. Let the candles speak. We light our chalice this morning in honor of our own beloved dead and those souls lost to the pandemic. May we all be reminded of the great light we carry within our own being.
Stone, on behalf of all of those joys and concerns which remain unspoken and in our hearts.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's always a blessing and a joy to be with you. I have a short little homily this morning before we go into our All Souls Remembrance ceremony. So all around the world and in every tradition this time of the year, the end of October and the beginning of November is a threshold time, the ending of summer, the final harvest, the coming of the winter dark in the Northern Hemisphere, a time to be still, to rest, to reflect on what has been. It is yet another reminder of the continuous cycles of life, death, rebirth. It is said that this is a time of descent into the dark, and that from the dark, all new life comes. It is said that this is a time when heaven and earth kiss, a sacred time when the veil between the worlds is thinnest, when the physical world and the spiritual world mingle, when we can hear the whispers of the ancestors calling us to celebrate them, remember them, honor them with altars and offerings, pray for their souls in the way of our own knowing, our own culture, our own traditions. Samhain, All Hallows Eve, Halloween, the feasts of All Saints and All Souls Day, the Day of the Holy Innocents, the Day of the Faithful Dead. We remember the dead so that we may celebrate life. And this pandemic year, we keenly feel the razor-sharp edge of life and death. Death is more present. Grief is more present. There have been so many losses and so many to mourn. Yet even mourning in our traditional ways together holds danger. We have to adjust and improvise our rituals of mourning and remembrance. I was with your congregation back in January as you observed your All Souls Remembrance ceremony, and now here we are, virtually, doing it again. And now, all these months later, we honor more than our beloved dead. We honor the lives lost to COVID-19. 4,378 souls in North Carolina. 230,566 in the United States, and 1,197,026 globally. People we may have known and loved, and we have all been touched by their loss. There are no words. Kneel in the back pew. Make no sound. Let the candles speak. How do we honor the souls of those who are so much more than a statistic on the Johns Hopkins dashboard? How do we honor our own beloved dead? How do we honor our ancestors, those who came before us, and if it were not for them, we would not be? We bear sacred witness. We remember them. We share their memories. We celebrate their lives full of joy and suffering and the struggles of their own times and places, just as our own. and we listen to their voices, their wisdom, their whispers, their blessings, their guidance, and we honor them with gratitude for their lives and our lives, and the knowing of our own place and obligations to our lineage, past, present, and future. The well of our grief is deep, unfathomable, but so too is the well of our love, our life force, our light, our strength, our wisdom, our resilience. We are strong for them. We are resilient for them. We will overcome or we will succumb to our own struggles as they did. They have done their part in the cycle of life and death, and now we do ours. May they rest in peace. Now Becky will share the video montage of the slides that you've sent in of your beloved dead, and we'll have a time to share afterwards. And if there are others who would like to share memories of their loved ones and say their names, please raise your hand.
Jack Zuko.
I procrastinated and didn't get a picture of my mother. In time. So here's a picture of her in one of her last apartments in Pittsburgh. And this is a picture of her when she was in the nursing home and visited my daughter, not my daughter, my younger sister's home in suburban Pittsburgh. And she said, "I'm pushing up the lid of the casket." She had an irrepressible sense of humor. Mary Elizabeth Fish Ritter.
This is Peg and Paul, my parents. My mother died in 15 and my father in 16. They were married for 72 years.
Sally?
I'd like to remember Doris Roberts. There's a memorial service for her today, right now in Richmond, unless it's raining there too. And even I'd like to remember Little Ranger, my little palm that died about the same time.
Ann and Don Kaiser, my parents. And Mariana, also known as Nancy Mershon, Don's mother. And Hartland Mershon and Florence, his father and second wife. And I'd also like to remember Shelley Jackson Denham, who was one of the founders of the UU Musicians Network and was a dear friend of mine, died suddenly several years ago of a heart problem.
I had shared the only photo that I have of my maternal grandparents. I didn't know my paternal grandparents. They had both died before I was born. But even though my maternal grandmother has been gone now for more than 60 years, I did want to remember her especially. That's the only photo that I have of her. She didn't have any photos of her when she was young because she was an orphan in the 1870s and didn't have much of an opportunity to go to school. She went through 5th grade before she was sent out on her own to make her way in the world. But I especially wanted to remember her. She was my kindergarten teacher. There was no Catholic school kindergarten when my 2 older brothers were off and I was home alone with my grandparents. And she was my first teacher. And despite her 5th grade education, she taught me how to read because she didn't know that that's not what you did in kindergarten. So I just wanted to remember her especially. And I wish that that Donald Trump had someone like her in his early life.
This is a poem to honor our beloved deceased who died because of COVID. Elder Exodus. Swiftly, one by one, they join spiritual hands, letting go of earthly ones, making a mark and point on history. Elders signing their collective soul's contract, beckoning those of us remaining with knowable and actionable wisdom. Their sacrifice, a radical gift, that we may wake up to life in love and giving, beyond fear and greed, to prioritize creativity and healing beyond destruction and malady. I'd like to honor my beloved friend Susie Mikolo, who died earlier this year, we believe, due to COVID, but it was before they were testing for COVID deaths. And also my beautiful friend who died a year ago, Robin, who died around now, actually, in about 6 days' time. So this time is a very sacred time for all of us. And my beautiful Auntie Charlotte, who was also my godmother. Thank you.
My best friend from high school, and we've maintained a long, close friendship. Her husband died last night, and so I will mention him just so I can tell her that I said his name on All Saints Day, All Souls Day.
I'd also like to mention our friend Sandy Livingston, dear friends from graduate school, and she passed away in April from pancreatic cancer.
It's very hard to have family so far away. My cousin Wendy and her son and my cousin's brother Rupert are all in South Africa. But having lost my cousin so recently and being able to see Wendy and Jason's face on Zoom makes it very special. Having a phone call is good, but being able to see someone's face is really a positive experience, even if it's on a video chat. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
And Ken and I will now share a responsive reading by Kendall Gibbons.
When death comes suddenly, taking just one friend, or in a magnitude beyond our comprehension,
In horror and disbelief, we remember.
when bright and innocent lives are cut short without warning or mercy,
In agony and outrage, we remember.
when a long life closes with honor and thankfulness,
In reluctant submission and gratitude, we remember.
when bereavement and loss seem to be everywhere we turn and the world goes dark,
In emptiness and pain, we remember.
when help and comfort must be given to the afflicted and the work of our hands is needed,
In duty and sacrifice, we remember.
when arrangements must be made and the severed threads bound up,
In ritual and custom, we remember.
when it feels like nothing matters and life as it once was seems distant and unreal,
In sorrow and numbness, we remember.
when grief comes upon us in waves and the helpless heart overflows,
In sadness and aching tears, we remember.
when words at last become meaningless and the only peace lies inward,
In silence and solitude, we remember.
when communities come together and the hurt is shared,
In mutual comfort and consolation, we remember.
when a strain of music or a familiar image brings a gentle, wistful smile,
In tenderness and nostalgia, we remember.
when the spirit of life beckons us to lift our eyes to all that remains true and good,
In dedication and trust, we remember.
when the tensions of mutual help and understanding taught by tragedy live on in us to bless the world,
In love and kinship, we remember.
when we come to honor those we have lost by learning to cherish more dearly those around us,
In generosity and gratitude, we remember. And I will conclude our All Souls Remembrance ceremony with this pastoral prayer by the Reverend Christine C. Robinson. Spirit of life, whom we know best in our own loving and being loved, Hold us as we remember those we have loved and those who have loved us. May our gratitude sparkle in our lives. May our tears lubricate our souls. Help us to know that we are not alone in our grieving, and help us also to come to that peaceful place in which we can take what we learned from those who have gone before us into our own lives. Remind us that we too are mortal, and that the only enduring legacy we leave is the love that shines through us. Amen. Thank you all for sharing in our remembrance ceremony this morning. And as some of you already mentioned in our joys and concerns, everyone, I'm sure, is riding a wave of emotion in advance of Tuesday. So I wanted to speak to that this morning and, maybe leave you with some words of hope or consolation. Maybe you'll be feeling hopefulness, or maybe anxiety, dread, fear, terror. And depending on the result on Tuesday, maybe hopefulness, happiness, relief, joy, maybe more anxiety, dread, fear, terror. We just don't know. This is a threshold time, and the anticipation and not knowing is certainly nerve-wracking, to say the least. And we will have to call upon all of our sources of strength, compassion, resiliency, and higher perspective to ride the wave of the next week, the next months even. So I leave you with this voting blessing from Rabbi Tirza Firestone. I give thanks to you, source of all life, for the opportunity to voice my heart and conscience through this act of voting. May my vote be delivered and counted faithfully, carry the weight of my wisdom, care, and intention, and combine with a multitude of others to create an indisputable vocal wave to help to direct the governing bodies of this country to enact more justice, equality, and peace for all. And so I leave you with this final beautiful piece of music and dance, and I wish you all peace in the coming days.
As we extinguish the chalice that has lighted our way this morning, let's virtually join hands and recite our traditional Peace Fellowship blessing. Bless us with hope. Bless us with care. Bless us with love. Bless all we share. Blessed be. Amen. Shalom. Salam. Namaste. Ashe.